What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue here with my 2024 predictions for the upcoming 2024 college football season. The Duke Blue Devils are up next. Duke coming off a great year last year in 2023, going 8-5 overall. So this Duke football team has really looked good in the last couple years. They won 9 games in 2022, and then last year, of course, 8 games under Mike Elko. You look at this Duke team, though, for 2024, my thoughts on them, of course, Mike Elko now gone. The era is now over here for Coach Elko and this Duke football program. Mike Elko now takes the job at Texas A&M. That's going to be a huge loss here for this Duke football team, and not just for the players and everything. It's more about the program. It's a new era now for Duke, a completely new roster. They lost so many players either from the transfer portal or maybe due to graduation, or maybe they went on to have an NFL career. And Riley Leonard is also gone at quarterback, so the quarterback position is a little bit of concern here if you're a Duke fan, and also especially on both sides of the football. Again, this is going to be definitely a young team this year, so we'll see what the future looks like, starting up this new era here at Duke. But let's now get to the schedule here for 2024, and they have a pretty tough schedule this year. So again, they were 8-5 last year in 2023, so let's go game by game now and give you a record prediction here for the Blue Devils for 2024. They start things off with Elon here on August 31st. An FCS team, should be a pretty easy win here for the Blue Devils, so I think they start off 1-0 here fairly easily. And then after that, there's the big game in the non-conference here on the road at Northwestern. I believe this game's going to be on a Friday, so I meant to switch my graphics there. I believe this is a Friday night game on September 6th instead of September the 7th. And I also can't remember if when I did my Northwestern prediction, that I changed my graphics either. But this game will be on a Friday. Northwestern has played Duke now in the last couple years. They've lost to this Duke team for the last couple years, of course, when Mike Elko was there. If Mike Elko was still here at Duke, I think it would be another competitive game, and I probably would choose the Blue Devils in this game as well. But I'm actually going to go with Northwestern here. I think, with all the, roster turnover at Duke, I think Northwestern is a better team. I think they're going to have a pretty good defense this year. So with that being said, I think Northwestern gets the win here against Duke after a couple losses in a row for the last 2 years against this Duke team. So I got Duke falling to 1-1. Then they beat UConn here in Middle Tennessee here on the road on September 14th and September 21st. I wouldn't really say both of those non-conference games will be blowouts, though. I think Elon will probably be their easiest win here on this schedule. And then you got UConn and Middle Tennessee here on the road. UConn, I think, will be a little bit tricky for the first few minutes, but Duke should be able to win that game fairly easily at the end of the day. And then Middle Tennessee, you never know about them. They pulled off an upset against an ACC opponent a couple years ago against Miami. So maybe they could do that to Duke here with this time with all the roster turnover. But I got Duke getting both of those wins there against UConn and Middle Tennessee. Either way, they take care of business. So I got Duke starting out 3-1 going into conference play. They play rival North Carolina here at home on September 28th. A rivalry game, of course. Anything can happen here in this matchup. North Carolina, though, is definitely a more talented team than Duke, though. And when you look at this prediction that I had back then, I had North Carolina losing this game to Duke, but now when I look back at this prediction, I don't really feel confident with it. So just like the Illinois video from yesterday when I switched my Illinois versus Michigan prediction, I did choose Michigan to win instead, and now with that being said, I'm going to change another pick here. I'm actually going to go with the Tar Heels to win this game. I think this game probably will be close for a while, but I think second half, North Carolina probably finds a way to pull away in the second half. So with that being said, I'm going to change my pick here. I'm going to go with North Carolina here to get the win instead. So I got Duke losing their first conference game here of the season. So with that pick, North Carolina's record now, I got them finishing with a record of 9-3. So that's how the prediction works now. But I got Duke dropping to 3-2 after that loss to North Carolina. Next, they play Georgia Tech here on the road on October 5th. A pretty even matchup here. You look at both of these programs. They were sitting kind of, at the bottom of the ACC over the course of the years, but now Duke has been really good in the last couple years. But now Georgia Tech seems like a program that's heading in the right direction as well. I think Georgia Tech's going to be a pretty good team this year, but both of these teams have really tough schedules. And I think that's the reason why this could be a matchup here between two of the bottom teams in the ACC. Georgia Tech, though, is playing at home in this one. I think this is a pretty even matchup, 50-50 close game. And so with that being said, home field advantage might be the difference. I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets here to get the win. So I got Duke now dropping to 3-3. They get a bye week after that Georgia Tech game before playing Florida State here at home on October 18th. This game, of course, will be on a Friday. This will be the second Friday night game that Duke will play since that Northwestern game there on September the 6th instead of September the 7th. We've seen a lot of upsets happen in this conference on those weeknight games on Thursdays and Fridays. I really don't see this one being all that close, though. Florida State definitely a more talented team than Duke is, and definitely a more coached team as well. So with that being said, I think the Seminoles win this one fairly easily. But Duke gets a bye week, so watch out for that game. So that's 3 losses in a row after starting 3-1. Next, they play SMU here at home on October 26th. SMU, of course, a newcomer that Duke will only play this year. This will be the only newcomer that they'll play in the conference this year. SMU is a really good team, though. They got a lot of experience coming back on both sides of the football, and they got a lot of playmakers on both sides of the football ready for the Power 4 level. And also, I think SMU is definitely a dark horse contender in the ACC this year. So with that being said, I think SMU is definitely the better team here, and plus, I've already made my prediction for this game, and I did choose the Mustangs to win this one, so I got SMU getting this win. And I think in that video, I said that SMU probably is right there with Duke for a little while in the first half, but second half, the Mustangs probably find a way to pull away. So I got SMU getting the win there, so that's 4 losses in a row now going for Duke here going into the month of November. That puts them now here at 3-5 on the season. Next, they play Miami here on the road on November 2nd. This is another game I don't really expect to be all that close. I think Duke will be better by this time with their brand new team, but I think Miami, of course, a lot of talent on this roster. Mario Cristobal is a great recruiter, and also the incoming transfers that they have coming over from the transfer portal. Yeah, this is a really good Miami team. So with that being said, I think Miami is going to be way too dangerous here for Duke, and I think Miami gets the win here fairly easily. So that drops Duke now to 3-6. Next, they play NC State here on the road on November 9th. So they got back-to-back road games here with Miami and NC State. 2 very tough road games in back-to-back weeks. Duke's coming off that loss to Miami from last week. They're probably all beat up going into this rivalry game against the Wolfpack. So with that being said, I think, Duke is not really going to come out really focused in this game after the beatdown by Miami from last week. So with that being said, I think NC State wins this game fairly easily. It could be close like the North Carolina game in the first half, but second half NC State might pull away. So I got Duke losing that game, dropping to 3-7 here on the season. They get their second bye week here before playing Virginia Tech at home here on November 23rd. A Virginia Tech team that I'm really high on this year. I think this is definitely like a top contender in the ACC. Maybe even a dark horse contender just because of the roster and everything, but you look at the roster, a lot of experience coming back here for this Virginia Tech team. They're going to be really good. They have the most returning production coming back in the country. Even though this is a home game here for Duke, I'm going to go with Virginia Tech here to get the win. I know Duke has got a bye week before playing this game. It's probably a winnable game, don't get me wrong, but after 2 straight road games in a row, they probably recover for this one to make it a very interesting game. But just like the NC State and North Carolina games, I think it's close in the first half, but Virginia Tech pulls away in the second half. So I got Duke losing that game at home against Virginia Tech. So that drops them now here to 3-8. And then the final game of the season is on the road here at Wake Forest on November 30th. A Wake Forest team that I'm not really that high on this year. These are like 2 teams that are sitting at the bottom, in my opinion, this year in the ACC. Wake Forest could have a pretty good offense, but the defense is what I'm concerned about here for the Demon Deacons. And again, I'm just not really that high on this team. So with that being said, I think this is a pretty even matchup. It definitely can go either way. It could be a low-scoring type game. It could be a shootout, so you never know. But I'm actually going to go with Wake Forest here just because they're playing at home. Again, I think both rosters are pretty even otherwise. So I got Duke finishing with a record of 3-9. Meant to change my graphics there. But again, the 3-9 is my prediction, not 3-8 here for Duke for 2024. So that is my prediction here. Again, it's a bit of a step back year for them, especially with Mike Elko gone as the head coach and everything. This is a very tough schedule as well. So with that being said, that's the reason why I got them going 3-9 here for 2024. So that is my prediction here for Duke. Let me guys know what you think about this Duke team down in the comments below. What do you think their record will be for 2024? Let me guys know what you think, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.